The story with the narcissist is an all too familiar one. It all starts with this feeling of this sudden happily ever after. And as soon as that feeling really sinks in, it's like that happily ever after ends very suddenly and abruptly. And many people who haven't been through that before might think, well, that's a new type of pain. And when it comes to narcissistic relationships, that might just be the most painful moment. When you thought that you both were on the same page and that feeling you had was reciprocated, and you finally let that guard down. You finally let that love flow towards them. And what you thought was them feeling the same towards you was just them having a charade. It was all very fake on their part. And what many people don't want to hear is the narcissist, a part of them, even if most might not admit it, but they always knew that they were going to hurt you. They always knew that it might happen once, it might even happen multiple times in the relationship, where they would get you to believe that you were on the same page in any intense or sincere feeling that you were feeling towards them, that they would wait for that moment where you were completely opened up, and you might even have a certain life event happening which might make you a bit more vulnerable. It might mean you're a bit more vulnerable than usual. And that's exactly when they like pulling the plug, because they can see you're hurt when they pull the plug, when they pull their affection away from you. And that's what validates them more than anything. And that's where the pathology is. The pathology of the narcissist. They're so hurt themselves that they set people up, they set you up to experience that immense pain. And there was never going to be any other way around it, but they set you up to face that intense pain so they can feel better about themselves, and their pain that they face on an ongoing basis is temporarily less. But if you're watching this, then chances are that's already happened, that's already in the past. And you probably already know who you were dealing with. And one of the most healthy ways, in my view, I'm not trying to make fun of anyone, but one of the most healthy ways to deal with a narcissist is to treat them like an experiment. Once you're past that tumultuous kind of discard or them pulling away at the worst possible time. And what I mean by that is, it tends to go back and forth a few times, like you're playing tennis, you hit the ball over, and they hit the ball back, and then you hit the ball over, and they hit the ball back. It's like when you start to move on, they pull away, right? When you start to move on, you start to heal, they kind of come back into your life just to get you to refocus on them so they can shake things up again. And then when you start caring about them again, when you start trusting them again, when you start pouring your affection back into them again, they'll pull away and try to put you through immense pain again. And then you pull away, you start to heal, you start to focus on yourself, you start to focus on the other things, other people, and then they come back because they see something in you again to gain. There's always another round in their mind. So that inverse relationship where they're always trying to get you when you're moving on and healing. And once they have you, they feel this need to punish you, to extract supply. That's basically you having become their self-regulating tool. And that's why I say, you treat them like an experiment. Know in the back of your mind, when you no longer care or need them, they're going to come back into your life. And if they're not coming back into your life, it's either because maybe you figured them out and they know it and they don't want to mess with you anymore, or they're trying to conquer new supply, someone else to help them get their needs met. But if they're trying to conquer new supply and someone else to help them get their needs met, don't forget, if you ever had anything that was kind of steady or serious with them, it means they saw something unique and special in you. They don't manage to get good supply very often. Narcissists are good at getting quite a bit of mediocre supply, but not much good ones. And so what I mean by that is, if you're healing and moving on, they might be temporarily distracted by somebody else, but that does tend to be short-lived. And unless you caused a big narcissistic injury, if you are moving on, if you are healing, it's like nature calls them and they feel this need to wiggle their way back into your life. It's just it's their pathology. And if they don't do it, it's almost like, if you remember that movie Twilight, Edward Cullen, that vampire dude, and I'm not sure if you know the scene when he was in the lab room sitting with Bella Swan, and he kind of wanted to drink her blood, but he couldn't because he was like a vegetarian vampire. And he wasn't killing people, he wasn't drinking the blood of people, but just animals. But he was never quite satiated, and he was very uncomfortable, visibly uncomfortable, because it's almost like he sensed that her blood was good. So the analogy there is the narcissist sensed that your supply is good. And if they see you're doing well, it just means they sense that you've got a lot to offer. It's like they have a deficiency of a certain vitamin or a certain thing, and they see that you're the one who can satisfy that need. And if they're not coming back to you, then in a way they're suffering. And it's kind of like, how long can they suffer for? So treat them like a little lab rat in a sense, not of doing anything, but of what you expect. Treating them like an experiment is knowing what to expect. You can expect them to come back, but at the same time, you can preempt that and have the right boundaries in place. You can preempt that, and you can have other things that are now drawing your attention. You can preempt that by practice not playing the part they need you to play. You can preempt that by not accepting them back, not entertaining their advances, their hoovers. Practice does make perfect. And if you don't know how to keep a narcissist out of your life, then the next one that comes your way, and you finally realize who you're dealing with and you've worked your way out of the entanglement, then practice. You can even give them like an imaginary name. I don't know what you would call a little rat, but you can kind of imagine it. And then you can slowly work them out of your system. And it's actually a good way to heal from it. It's actually, it's almost like a playful way to heal from it. And it might even benefit you in the long run. And it helps you not being angry. Try it. Thanks for watching.